Picture this. You're no longer chasing gazelles barefoot across the savannah. Instead, you're standing in a quiet valley, watching wheat sway in the breeze like nature's version of Wi-Fi signals, only slower. For the first time in human history, your people aren't moving. You've built homes, planted crops, named your goats. You, my friend, are part of the very first farming village. It may not seem dramatic, but this was a turning point more explosive than any battle or invention to come. Before this, humans lived like shadows, following herds, picking berries, moving with the seasons. Life was hard, but balanced. You ate what you could find. You worked with the land, not over it. Then came the big idea. What if we just stayed here? And just like that, the world changed. With farming came surplus. With surplus came storage. With storage came society. Roles, rules, property, power. Villages grew into towns, then cities. But it all started with a few seeds, some clay pots, and a group of tired nomads who decided enough was enough. The first farming village wasn't just about food, it was about identity. For the first time, humans chose to shape the land instead of being shaped by it. That decision laid the foundation for everything: religion, writing, money, war, and yes, even dental problems. But we'll get to that later. You were no longer just surviving. You were building something bigger. And in doing so, you set the entire human race on a path it could never turn back from. At first, farming seemed like a dream. No more chasing antelope, no more guessing where dinner was hiding. With grains stored in jars and goats in pens, life felt secure. Families grew, villages thrived. But under the surface, something was changing. Something no one noticed until much later. The hunter-gatherer diet was rich in variety: lean meat, wild fruits, nuts, roots. It kept people moving, chewing, and shockingly, healthy. But early farmers? They were carb-loading before it was cool. Wheat, barley, millet, all mashed into porridge, baked into bread, and consumed in quantities their bodies weren't ready for. The result? Nutritional imbalance, tooth decay, weakened bones. People began shrinking, literally. Average height dropped, diseases rose, and immune systems struggled. Ancient skeletons show farmers had more arthritis, more infections, and surprisingly, worse teeth than their nomadic ancestors. Why? Because starchy food sticks around. Literally. In your mouth, between your teeth, feeding bacteria that love sugar as much as we do. Farming may have fed more people, but it also made them sicker in ways they couldn't yet explain. It was a silent trade-off: stability over strength, quantity over quality. In trying to master nature, humans accidentally triggered a slow-burning health crisis, one we still feel every time we wince at the dentist's drill or stare down a donut. Your ancestors didn't just change what they ate. They changed how their bodies worked. And nowhere was that shift more obvious than in the jaw. When humans hunted and foraged, chewing was serious business. Raw meat, fibrous roots, tough leaves, every meal was a workout. That meant strong jaw muscles, wide dental arches, and plenty of room for teeth to grow straight and clean. But farming? Farming softened everything. Grains were boiled, mashed, pounded into paste. Your great-great-great-grandparents weren't chewing, they were gumming down early oatmeal. The jaw said, "Well, I guess I don't need to work as hard anymore." And nature replied, "Cool, let's shrink." Over generations, human jaws began to narrow, but evolution didn't get the memo about the number of teeth staying the same. So now we had a problem. Too many teeth, not enough space. Cue the dental drama. Crowded molars, misaligned bites, and yes, those pesky wisdom teeth that never quite know where to go. Fun fact, most humans today need them removed because our jaws can't fit them anymore. But it wasn't just about aesthetics. A smaller jaw meant more plaque traps, more inflammation, more oral infections. And unlike a sore knee, a bad tooth could be deadly in the ancient world. Infected gums led to systemic illness. A single abscess could kill you. So while early farmers may have felt clever inventing bread, they were also setting humanity on a long road of biological reshaping, one that modern orthodontists are still trying to fix. Thousands of years later, you'd think we'd outrun the dental curses of our farming forebears. But nope. Their decisions are still showing up every time you floss, wince from a cavity, or stare in horror at your kid's $6,000 braces bill. Modern humans live in high-rises, send rockets to space, and eat sushi off conveyor belts. But biologically, we're still catching up to that first bowl of barley porridge. Our mouths are too small for our teeth, just like our ancestors. Our diets, now overloaded with refined sugars and ultra-processed carbs, are arguably even worse. The same bacteria that munched happily on ancient wheat paste now throw parties in our mouths after every soda, cookie, or bagel. Tooth decay remains one of the most common chronic diseases on Earth, even though we have dentists, fluoride, electric toothbrushes, and Instagram ads for charcoal toothpaste. And we're still paying in other ways, too. Impacted wisdom teeth? That's a farming legacy. TMJ disorders? Yep. Overbites and underbites? You guessed it. Thanks, agriculture. What started as a slow, evolutionary shift has become a full-blown, modern health industry. We've invented dental drills, x-rays, implants, and invisible aligners just to manage the mess made by early farming. In short, we've built entire professions, dentists, orthodontists, oral surgeons, because a few ancient villagers thought bread was a good idea. And while they weren't wrong, they definitely weren't brushing afterward. When we look back at the rise of agriculture, we often celebrate it as the birth of civilization, and rightfully so. It gave us towns, temples, trade routes, and the first written languages. But it also gave us toothaches. That's the strange thing about progress. It rarely comes free. For every step forward, there's usually something left behind. In this case, it was our jaw strength, dental health, and the simple, balanced diet of wild foods. All sacrificed in exchange for predictability, surplus, and permanence. You didn't choose to be born in the first farming village, but if you had, you'd feel the shift in every part of your life. Your meals would be softer but less diverse. Your body more stationary, your work more repetitive, your health more fragile in strange, creeping ways. And perhaps the most haunting part? We never really stopped making those same kinds of trades. Every modern convenience, from fast food to smartphones, carries echoes of that original compromise. We gain time, speed, and access. We lose balance, health, and sometimes connection. So the next time you brush your teeth or sit in a dentist's chair, think of those first farmers. They weren't just growing crops. They were planting the roots of modern humanity, good and bad. Because history doesn't just live in museums or textbooks. Sometimes it lives in your molars. Love learning how the past shaped your body and your dentist bills? Don't miss more strange but true stories from human history. Subscribe now for weekly deep dives into evolution, survival, and the hilarious ways our ancestors still mess with us today. Hit the bell so you won't miss the next episode, because trust us, it only gets weirder from here.